What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy, JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Just want to give a shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shy, Kelvin, and Jermaine. Everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make this show the best that it can be. It's here, knocking on the door. It's about to kick off the beginning of the 2023-2024 NBA season. Highly anticipated, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. As a lifelong fan of this league, man, one thing I love to see, along with staple franchises or long-standing teams, that have really built something special. I love to see young teams on the rise, man. I love that. I love the competition. I believe these young stars coming up, I believe they want to compete. The young stars coming up, that will represent the NBA post super team era. Like I said, for me, it's never been about which era is the best or who's the most skilled. It's not about the lack of ability. It's about the mentality that's shifted over these past 14 years or so. But, time will correct itself eventually, I believe. And with players like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and the like, winning championships for their respective franchises and small market teams, teams that's built from the ground up. I love that, man. And you can't knock it. You cannot knock it. You got to respect it. And the NBA really needs to set a framework that will encourage teams to pursue winning in that type of direction. But I just want to give a quick preview of the Eastern Conference and what I think will happen, or what I kind of foresee happen. Not necessarily prediction per se, but just an overall view. With the moves that the Milwaukee Bucks made, and acquiring Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar, and then bringing in players like Malik Beasley, who is an excellent three-point shooter, to kind of replace the loss of like a Grayson Allen, along with a Wes Matthews Jr., and then bringing in a Cameron Payne from the Phoenix Suns. That's huge. He'd be the backup guard to Dame. And then Boston Celtics, they trying to make it happen. Acquiring Kristaps Porzingis. I've always liked Porzingis' game, even when he started off in New York. At one time he was averaging like 24 and 12. The only issue with him is just injury. But when he's healthy, the man can play ball and he can shoot. And then of course they traded for Jrue Holiday. After Marcus Smart, representing them for the past 8 years as their lead guard. And now they're bringing in Jrue Holiday. But ultimately with Boston, I believe it's going to come down to the two superstars, well, particularly Jason Tatum, because traditionally the best team has the best player when they become a champion. And ultimately, I believe that's what Jason Tatum's going to have to play like for the Boston Celtics to win the title. It's not anything out of the norm. Giannis proved who he was in 2021 and leading Milwaukee to the first championship in 50 years since Lou Alcindor. Later on, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did that for Milwaukee. But other teams, I like what the Knicks are doing. They're staying the course. They're not, overreacting to, losing in the playoffs. They're bringing back their core players, and they're just going to continue to develop, and that's what it's about, And that's what makes your players better. That's what makes your players better instead of going knee-jerk, trading 2-3 guys at a time. You know what I'm saying? You learn from it, man. You allow the Julius Randles and the R.J. Barretts and the Quentin Grimes and people like that to get better. And playing with a Brunson, who's a tremendous player, Jalen Brunson, instead of trading all their assets to bring in Donovan Mitchell. So New York got a good thing going. They got a good future. They re-signed Josh Hart. And then Cleveland Cavaliers, there's a playoff team last year. I see them going back to the playoffs again this year with a little more resolve than what they showed in the the playoffs. And that's 4 playoff teams right there. Philadelphia 76ers, I mean, they're good enough to reach the playoffs, but I don't believe they're going to be a serious threat coming out the East, especially with the chaos going on with James Harden. To me, you can't do that to a team, leading into a season, not show up. You can't do that. You can't do that. But he's done it. He's done it. But they may not win 50 games this year, but I see them good enough to reach the playoffs. And then Miami Heat, just because of their veteranship and tough-mindedness, they can be a lower C playoff team. I like Indiana Pacers a lot. I like the way they building their team up after bringing in Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin in his first year last year. He averaged. He was one of the best rookies of the year last year. They still got Buddy Hield. They still got Miles Turner. But I like the young players they bringing in. I believe they would be a playoff team this year. So that's about 6 teams right there. And then the Orlando Magic. I like what they're doing. They got a healthy Markelle Fultz, and along with Pablo Pichero rating a Rookie of the Year, and the Wagners on their team. They can play, they can shoot. The Wagner brothers. And then is it Cole Anthony? He can play ball, he can shoot. I like what they're doing. They may surprise some people, and they may, if they don't clinch a playoff spot per se outright, I can see them being a playing team this year. And Raptors will be tough. They'll be a competitive team, but they may take a hit after losing Nick Nurse's head coach. Charlotte Hornets is just they need what Charlotte Hornets need is a big time drafted player out of the lottery, like what San Antonio got in Victor Wembanyama. They need an impact player like that coming in right away. That's what Charlotte is missing to really kickstart that team. Atlanta Hawks would be, Trae Young, Dejounte Murray. They still got Clint Capella and whatnot, but they did lose John Collins, trading him to Utah Jazz. But they'll be a playing team again this year, maybe borderline I don't see them being a top 6 seeded team, so they'll be a playoff team, a playing team, I should say. Brooklyn's gonna be nice. That's who I forgot. Brooklyn, I think they're gonna catch people by surprise. They got some young talent in the Kevin Durant trade, along with the Kyrie Irving trade. If Ben Simmons come to play up his potential, they can surprise some people. They'll be competitive this year, So Detroit Pistons, they just got to stay healthy. Cade Cunningham hopefully come back, and play strong. So I'm trying to highlight all the teams in the conference. And the Washington Wizards, after losing Bradley Beal, I think Kyle Kuzma will be their leading player this year. I love the way Kyle Kuzma played in the fourth quarter. And I think he's the best clutch shot maker as far as hitting game-winning shots in the NBA. He's hit like 10 of them over the past 2 years since he's been in Washington after being traded from the Lakers. So it pretty much sums it up for me. And I think the 2 main teams are going to be Milwaukee and Boston. There's always a surprise. I think the Knicks, I think they match up pretty good with Boston. So the Knicks, if there's anybody that can surprise people and make these conference finals this year, I think it could be a team like the Knicks. But I think I covered every team for the most part. Like I said, I'm not really making no predictions, but I do believe Milwaukee Bucks overall has the inside track to win the championship. I think Giannis in his prime, absolute prime of his career. I think he got something to prove after they got upset in the first round. So I think he's going to be on the mission from day one. And now they got Dame Dollar, who's an ultimate clutch shooter. And he can get you 30 points, in a big game. So I think Milwaukee Bucks has the inside track to win it all this year. Or at least come out the East. So that's the way I look at it. But until next time, this is JB for BTB, Behind the Bench. Let's go NBA.